If you think about it, how convenient that Schumacher keeps his records. And it's just so obvious that Michael Massey is just a pawn. Yeah, no. I actually feel quite sorry for the man because he can't adjudicate for fucking shit, but he's definitely being influenced in some way. Like, he can't adjudicate, but he's just probably a scapegoat. He's just the bridge between the FIA and their dirty business. And I wouldn't be surprised if in the next days, in the coming days, he's gonna get absolutely lit on the stand. He's probably lost his job by the end of the week, and the FIA just have to burn that bridge. And I think it's fairly obvious that with Mercedes, even if they go to court in Paris, they'll just lose. Like, that's pretty obvious, because the most they can do is get the championship, or well, the final round of championship at Abu Dhabi annulled. That's cool and that, but then Verstappen would still be leading the championship, because although they're equal on points, Verstappen has more race wins. So Hamilton would not get his 8th title as he, in my opinion, deserved. But this is just so convenient because for Ferrari's constructor title record, and it's just it hasn't been. It's just been so conveniently not overhauled by Mercedes. And if you think about it, I'm actually quite appalled because I don't think the FIA are a fundamentally racist organisation, but it does look kind of racist. Like, if you're trying to override the safety car, override the rules so that he doesn't win, that could be classed as racist, and that's just like really harrowing and really hypocritical with all these "we racers won" gestures. And not only have they blocked Mercedes from breaking the Ferrari records, money's just one method, yeah. There are so many other ways you can help the team. For example, giving them the benefit of the doubt and bending the rules. So I wouldn't be surprised if, unless Mattia Binotto does a casual clown fuck up, you're going to be seeing Ferrari next year at least challenge for the constructors, at least, if not the drivers with either Leclerc or Sainz. Like, they'll just have such a big leg up. Yeah, they were just given such a convenient barrier between such a big legacy, and now it's just, now that it's been protected, they can go win a world title next year. That's a conspiracy theory really in the air, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if some Ferrari file was being influenced by the decisions. And of course, probably an even more obvious reason, it's money and the media in general. Liberty Media will take pretty much any opportunity to make money. This Formula 1 is supposed to be a business which makes profit. With a new championship winner, you got probably going to get new sponsors, new fans, and that variation is so important to kind of give the sport a breath of fresh air. I know it seems a little bit hard to believe, but it was really getting dry for them, I can imagine, because Hamilton, I can understand, I can testify that LH dominance was getting quite dry and quite boring to watch, but at least it was fair, right? But for me, there's like a hard limit between, like, yeah, it's boring to watch, but at least it's fair. What we saw at Abu Dhabi was just not fair, in my opinion. Like, obviously they're trying to paint this David Verstappen versus Goliath Hamilton story, and that's fair enough, but that's just tampering with morals, in my opinion. That's just mad, absolutely mad. And you have they use the media with kind of advertising as probably a medium for propaganda in favour of Hamilton and Max Verstappen, of course, biasing up this David Goliath story. But this is just, it's just pathetic, the number of prisoners it takes. Like, this is so deeply wrong against I can think of Bottas, Alexander Albon even. Like, unreal how much propaganda can just destroy the careers of someone. Like, you have a situation where Alexander Albon is considered the world's biggest liability to a team, even though statistically, he's done better than Sergio Perez. Sergio Perez, in my opinion, is just criminally overrated. He scored only 48% of Max Verstappen's points this year, and you could argue that Verstappen had even worse luck. I mean, when he's not been fighting Alpines and McLarens for half the race distance, he's always like a solid 35 seconds behind in race distance. That's just not good enough, is it? Like, that is not an improvement from what Alexander Albon was doing. Albon was especially he did a few underrated little drives, especially in 2019 when he was just helicoptered in the last millisecond. So, in my opinion, Perez is criminally overrated. But then you have Bottas as Hamilton's teammate, who's, in my opinion, criminally underrated. It's complete opposite, because Bottas is painted in the media as not even a liability, as just driftwood, even though he's obviously he's only scored 57% of Lewis Hamilton's points this year, which is not very good at all, is it? Like, it's been a year to forget for Bottas, but remember, he did 11 podiums this season in arguably worse machinery, whereas Perez has only done 5. 6 more podiums, that's pretty alarming, and I think if anyone watches the sport properly, like if they've been following the season, I think everyone can testify Bottas's luck has just been unreal bad. Like, I know he's stuck behind Yuki Tsunoda's AlphaTauri all the time, but no. Not like the number of points he's lost via shitty pit stops and crashes that weren't really his fault. It's just people forget that Bottas on his day beats Lewis Hamilton, who is the GOAT, literally statistically the greatest of all time. Yeah, he's considered like driftwood, and this Sergio Perez, who's just a solid 6.5 tenths, casual 6.5 tenths a lap off, is just considered the new champion. I talk to people at school. I love my friends, but I get I'm very confused why they tell me that Perez is going to be the next champion, because he's a good team player. He held up Lewis Hamilton for half a lap. Team players don't win championships, my G. It's just I don't understand the thought process which. How can you see Perez as a world championship material driver when he can't even race Alpines half the time? Like, the number of times when Verstappen needed urgent backing up this season, Silverstone probably being the easiest example here. He's floating around at the back just having a good time on helium or something or other. It's just the inconsistency of Perez this season has been absolute. It's been really disappointing. Like, I've never been more underwhelmed seeing the driver, a driver who we expect so much from, actually deliver so little, even less than the person that is considered a liability to Red Bull, Albon. It's a strange world, but that's just because of media just portraying Checo as a GOAT, because, well, he actually has a home race, Mexico Grand Prix. It's pretty embarrassing that he's on 25 lap fresher tyres, can't overtake Hamilton at his home track. Like, that's not very good, is it? But just because he has this home Grand Prix, the media, how they'll influence the advertising to please the fans and get more money, it's just made Perez look like this god, when in reality he's not as good, in my opinion. Like, I'm sorry, the statistics show he's had a terrible year, yet everyone's praising him like he's the next Goatifi. It's just like, and even if he wins the championship next year, which won't happen, I'm sorry, he'll still have like a fifth of the success of like a true, what I consider a GOAT. So we're looking Senna, Vettel, Hamilton, of course. Verstappen's getting there, but yeah, just the media skews things and causes trends which aren't necessarily true. And that's a those second drivers were very, very long-winded example, but I'm afraid it's true. I mean, they'll do as much as they can to gas those people up just for that stupid advertising money. Then if you think about it, Bottas and Albon, they don't have a Grand Prix, home Grand Prix because of their nationality. So Albon was Thai, Bottas Finnish. Like, no wonder they're not going to get the support through the media, and their careers are basically over. But I think both of them can bring it back. So you have Albon in Williams and Bottas in Alfa Romeo. I think they'll do underrated drives next season because they're actually pretty talented. They'll be like phoenixes rising through the shadows. But anyway, this long-winded example detracts from the point that the media influenced like what they wanted to see from this last lap showdown, even though it was so heavily rigged towards Verstappen's favour to protect this Ferrari legacy and to have this variety, which is understandable, but it just shows that the Liberty media care more about money than actual justice and karma. Like Lewis Hamilton, I'm not gonna get into controversial arguments, see if he deserved a world championship or not, because yeah, I'll probably get into arguments with eggs being thrown at my face, but it's, in my opinion, if you perform when it matters, and it mattered at Abu Dhabi, it mattered the most, and he was leading by 15 seconds up until the safety car, 15 seconds, and on 25 lap pressure tyres than Max Verstappen, he's pulling away. That's, I can't believe someone would say that Hamilton didn't deserve that race or that championship even, because if you're level on points and you're leading by that bigger margin and you're gonna win, how can you say that that person doesn't deserve the world title? That's just loads of people have different opinions, and it's brilliant to hear about. It just confuses me sometimes, but anyway. That's a talking point for a future video. Who deserved the title more? I would always say Hamilton, but talk it in the comments below what you think. But to end it, it's just, what's really sad is that cash is king in this sport, and it's just the way how the FIA have tried to orienteer this Verstappen new world champion. It's just been so pathetically obvious, it's actually quite funny. Like, the cash is king idea, like, pay drivers like Nikita Mazepin, Guan Yu Zhou, who are way less talented than you have, like some sort of Nick de Vries, Oscar Piastri. Those people actually deserve the drives, whereas just because one person is slightly, by chance, grew up with more money, they get to race and cause more liability to the sport. But at the end of the day, even though they cause so much liability, cash is king, so it doesn't matter. Cash is king. Cash is king. Like, that is why Verstappen just had the easiest help of all time for that world title, and cash is king. That's why we see so much media influence and so many new pay drives, which is just degrading the sport, and it's just really sad to watch. I hope one day it's going to get worse from here. But think about this whilst you can, because I think this is really very poignant, and now this Abu Dhabi has just made us reflect on such a big issue with the sport, and let's hope it becomes less obvious in future years what degradation is happening, because I've been watching the sport for 11 years. I'll say it how it is. I know what I'm talking about when I come to this. Like, the good old times are way better, and it would pain me to see Formula 1 just lose its soul, lose its essence. It's just degrading, and it's really making me cry. But yeah, that's just my opinion, guys. Like, let's have a discussion about this. I can't wait to hear your thoughts and feelings in the comments. Keep it respectful, and yeah, cheers.